You, the Zionists, who hide within Jewish cloth, you become the Goliath of our times. And you think just because you have all this money to buy politicians, what do you think? You're getting away with this? This is a crime. You are responsible. You are accountable for crimes against humanity.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
The people see oppressors, they see occupiers, they see racists, and they see people who are imitating what was actually done to them by the Nazis of the Third Reich. They have now become the new Nazis.
When I get compared to a Nazi on campus in my own school, really, makes me feel like it's happening all over again. Like I'm being targeted because I'm a Jew.
The University of California is the largest public university system in the country and ranks among the best. But for students and faculty who support Israel, life on its campuses can be difficult and at times intimidating. They are surrounded by a hostile environment in the classrooms, dormitories, on campus walkways, and at rallies and campus events.
I'm proud to be part of that small group of people that supports Israel, but at the same time, it's extremely difficult. I mean, nobody likes to be yelled at, nobody likes to be called names, nobody likes to be, bullied around or physically intimidated. I mean, nobody likes that. I certainly don't like that.
I come out of the lecture, I couldn't get out because the two bodyguards were standing blocking my way, and I somehow got out, and they walked after me to my car, and I suddenly realized that they were walking after me. I didn't know if this was real or a bad movie.
Intimidation of Jewish students like this has grown on campus. Lectures and events profess to be scholarly discussions of human rights and politics and Zionism are instead platforms for anti-Semitism.
Women have been walking by themselves. They're walking to their car or something, and they're being followed by the MSU guys. And they're screaming all sorts of nasty things, like calling her a whore, calling her a slut, baby killers, racists. They were saying these things, and I was like I was really shocked.
Other lectures sponsored by the Muslim Student Union have included Holocaust in the Holy Land, Israel, the Fourth Reich, Zionazis, anti-Semitism, the Zionist facade.
There's just a climate of intimidation, a climate of fear that is being perpetuated on campus when you have these incidences of swastikas being put up in dorm rooms, and you have people like Imam Abdul Malik Ali calling for ethnic cleansing.
You have to fight against that terrorism. And the terrorists are the United States. The terrorists are the Israelis. Those are the terrorists. So no, Hezbollah are freedom fighters. They're freedom fighters.
Under the mantle of academic freedom, anti-Israel conferences are sponsored by multiple departments in the university, making them official events, paid for by taxpayers' money and promoted in the classrooms. This has the effect of legitimizing arguments calling for the destruction of Israel. One such lecture, Alternative Histories Within and Beyond Zionism, featured 5 speakers who all expressed the view that Israel was a racist, illegitimate state. It was sponsored by 8 academic departments and research groups.
We have gone to those departments and asked them to join us in the name of the university being a free marketplace of ideas, to please join us in sponsoring a different opinion, one that hasn't been heard from coming out of from their department or being sponsored by their department. And every time we've asked, they've refused.
Faculty who raise questions about anti-Israeli activism are also subject to intimidation.
I've talked with faculty. First of all, I can see the fear in the eyes. When I ask him how is the situation concerning Zionism and Israel on campus in your department, I see a shifting of the eye first to the left, then to the right to see if no one watches, and then comes the answer. Okay? Let me tell you, it's getting worse.
Anti-Israel bias shows up in the classroom in surprising and unexpected ways. At UC Santa Cruz, for example, freshman students in an expository writing class were assigned Palestine, a graphic novel which distorted and demonized Israel.
In every class I had, Israel was shown in a bad light, was shown as an aggressor, as an apartheid state, as compared to Nazis.
I've avoided taking certain classes with professors that are notorious for their anti-Israel views. And it's really sad because there's material that I want to learn.
Asking questions or expressing an alternative viewpoint can often result in a student being intimidated and their class standing threatened.
Being worried about my comfort and safety in a classroom is limiting my options on what I can take and what I choose to take. If a professor is going to be grading me and I'm not going to be able to comfortably talk in their class, it's a problem.
If students ask for a more complete perspective on the Middle East in class, they're likely to be shamed. They're likely to be implicitly mocked and explicitly silenced.
In 2002, then California Governor Gray Davis wrote a letter to the heads of the UC system, raising concerns about campus anti-Semitism and asking for a system-wide comprehensive plan. Other government officials got involved as well.
Well, I'm troubled in two ways. First, it's the atmosphere for individual students there, whether it's anti-Semitic taunts or rocks being thrown, just whether it's comfortable to be a Jew on the UCI campus. And I was probably more motivated by the other issue, and that is to prevent anti-Semitic speech from being accepted as reasonable speech here in the United States.
I hope the time comes sooner rather than later when people of a free mind and a free soul can stand up and say that the Zionist Israeli occupants of the Holy Land are evildoers.
We had a handful of findings. The first one was in some ways the most important, although it sounds the most basic. It was the finding that anti-Semitism is a problem, even today, on a lot of college campuses around the United States. And that was an important finding because there were students who told us that they tried to report anti-Semitism and administrators were skeptical.
The university's stated principles of positive engagement and mutual respect, academic honesty and integrity are ignored when in classrooms, at lectures and symposia, and at rallies and demonstrations on campus public spaces. The administration turns a blind eye to these provocations. Historically, demonization sets the context for violence.
One reason I'm speaking out is because I am afraid that someday there's going to be a tragedy on the UCI campus.
We repeatedly told university officials and the police that we did not feel safe.
We don't want your racist war!
If you're a Jew who's proud to support Israel, to be perfectly honest, it's really not the safest place to be.
It's a state school and it's a liberal school, and it prides itself on the fact that people are supposed to feel safe and comfortable in the educational environment, and that's just not the case.
A new documentary makes serious allegations against Columbia University professors. Some students say their views on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict are not being heard. CNN's Alina Cho has this story.
Columbia University students, past and present, in their own words.
There's definitely an intimidation factor. People don't feel like they can express their points of views.
On certain professors.
He looked right into my eyes and he said, "See, you have green eyes." He said, "You're not a Semite." He said, "I'm a Semite. I have brown eyes." He said, "You have no claim to the land of Israel."
Allegations so explosive, this student requested anonymity.
And before I could continue, he stopped me and said, "Oh, are you Israeli? You served in the IDF?" I said yes. So his next question was, "How many Palestinians have you killed?"
One could find anti-Israel activities on almost all major universities in North America.
But some schools are worse than others.
It isn't a joke. It's not just about people trying to say, here, look what's going on in the Gaza Strip. It's about taking the Middle East war and bringing it to campus.
Recently, in a free newspaper on campus, we found cartoons that basically portrayed Israelis as Nazis in the full Nazi uniform, shooting at Palestinians in a trench. It's despicable, and it's terrible that this stuff is going on, and it really affects Jewish students. Jewish students see these things, and they think, where am I?
New Carleton University students say they are the victims of a hate crime fueled by anti-Semitism.
We heard shouts, it's Zionists. We see Zionists, and we responded, yeah, you know, we love Israel, go Israel. And then we were surrounded by about 10 to 15 guys shouting, yelling all around us.
Bergamini says one of the men punched him in the back of the head.
A car full of, 3 people pulled up and said, we hit you, you Jew.
Then they say one of the men grabbed a machete from the trunk.
I saw the machete come out, about this big, shining in the street light. And immediately, as soon as the guy took it out, he faced me and ran and just chased me. And I just ran as fast as I could.
I was really shocked that in my anthropology class at Bryn Mawr College, my anthropology professor used this class as a platform for her own political ideas that were very anti-Israel.
We Palestinians have nothing to dialogue about with Zionists.
So now the occupiers are whining to the U.S. that they're being hit back, that they're getting burned once in a while, that the settlers are being set aflame. Let them burn. I say let them burn.
We have seen the power of those who can hide behind the ivory tower. The Walton Mearsheimers going from campus to campus, spreading their venomous hatred, their distorted history, their misinformation and disinformation.
What the Israelis had in mind was basically to create an open-air prison in Gaza for the Palestinians.
They could sell 1 million copies of their books and have it used in courses across the United States without any refuting material being offered to the students. There was the demonizing of the Jewish lobby. But this is all an attempt to silence, to intimidate, and to denigrate those who express pro-Israel views, whether Jewish or non-Jewish. And students are the front line in this battle.